Okay, welcome to episode 109. We are still in our Everyone Has a Love Story series. And today we are actually talking about Everyone Has a Storge Love Story, which storge is the love of parents for their children. And today I have a very special guest. We have Coach Speedy, or as I call him, Deshaun. So thanks for being here, Deshaun.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we are so excited to have you here. So Deshaun is going to give us some feedback on what's it like being a parent, having kids, how did it change his life, what type of love has he received from his kids, what type of love has he given to his kids, and then of course, as you know, we kind of just jump into different topics and the conversation just flows. But we are very grateful to have you here. You want to give any fun facts or anything about you?
No, not really. No. Um, as you said, my name's Deshaun. Coach Speedy comes from me being a basketball coach for we sixth grade now, sixth grade AAU team. I've been with them for the last 2 years now, so I've been developing the same, maybe a few extra kids every year, but the same kids for the last 2 3 years. I'm a part time electrician when I feel like doing it. I have a side hustle, Handy Andy. No, I lied. Andy all around. That's my name. And I pretty much, exact like the name says, do whatever if I feel like doing it, or if I know how. If I don't know how, I won't do it. Um, and I'm a full time parent. I mean, not necessarily my kids live with me, but I'm never too far away. Yeah, I do puzzles in my free time. That's a fun fact. A lot of people don't know. If you don't know me, even if you do know me, it's kind of a random thing that nobody really knows because I do it in the comfort of my own home, in my own space, and people just kind of call me. What you doing? I'm putting a puzzle together. And I'm like, what? You do puzzles? Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I'm kind of smart actually, but
Jack of all trades.
so yeah, that's me. I'm here.
Hey, well, we're excited to have you here. We'll talk about having love for other people's kids too, because I think being a coach that comes with a lot of love that you have to have in order to do that type of work.
Oh, I got a story. I got a story.
Before we move on, I have two things to give you for being on the show.
I get gifts. Nobody ever gives me gifts.
Oh my!
It's another cup. You can never have enough cups. It's cool. It's black.
Well, what does it say?
It's healing. He got faith, which is the small shirt I have on right now. We're not going to talk about the whole story about the shirt, but it kind of works with the show. I just try to make things work. Thank you so much.
What does the other cup say?
The other cup says healing. She got faith.
Talk show.
Talk show. I'm sorry, the talk show that we're on now. So we're here.
So this is probably gonna be how the episode goes.
I'm a fun time. I don't know why. Listen, we're having fun.
So without further ado, we will go ahead and jump right into our icebreaker. All right, welcome to episode 109's icebreaker. All right, Deshaun, we got 2 decks of cards. Okay, so you've never been on the show before. Have you ever listened to the show?
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, I didn't know
Not
that.
a lot. I'm not 109 episodes in, but
I'm about to say I didn't know that.
like 3. Awkward. I'm like, yeah.
he said 3. Okay, at a 109, we got three episodes.
Yeah. So we're at 003. I'm binge listening right now.
I'm cracking up. Okay. So, our icebreaker, we do decks of cards. They're affirmation cards. So what you'll do is you'll tell me how to split up, or since we're in person, I didn't think about that. You can split up or pick your own cards, and we pick a card. Say if it resonates with us, why or might not. Perfect. So what do you feel like doing?
Doing it two, splitting 2 decks.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick the first one, and you can pick the next one.
The first one on the top or bottom?
The bottom.
You want me to pick one?
I picked the first one.
Oh.
Which side I'm supposed to read? Both?
Read the other one first.
Okay. I accept all of myself. This is absolutely true. I'm gonna be honest with you. This really resonated with me well because I mean, God gave you so many things, and I mean, I accept every one of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, that's actually one of my prayers. I pray and thank God for everything, like not just because a lot of people just pray for the good. Oh my God, thank you for the $1 million, thank you for the house. But you gotta, I feel like accepting the bad is part of your character, and it's just one of those things you can't get away from because nobody lives perfectly. So I accept it all. Like it's of course everybody has things about themselves that they don't like, but at the same time, for the most part of it, you can't change it. So why not accept it? Like the certain stuff you can change. I mean, haircuts, weight, cars, whatever, money. You can. It's certain stuff you can change, but the certain it's certain situations you cannot change. I mean, moles on your face and your height and whatever. I mean, you can, but you want to. Who's gonna pay to be taller? Who's gonna pay to be? I mean, you don't. Because at the same time, you still got to deal with something. So
you still got to do the side to read.
Oh, I got to read the other side.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, I accept myself fully.
Okay, I like that.
The other side, the work I do on myself is not a goal. It is a process, a lifetime process, and I choose to enjoy the process. Definitely, definitely agree with that as well. Again. The work I do on myself is not a goal. It is a process, a lifetime process, and I choose to enjoy the process.
That was for you.
That was because I've been through, I mean, just within the last 5 years, I've been through so much that, of course, I mean, I've had my hand in it where I might have started it, whatever, but I've dealt with enough that I enjoy those things because my philosophy and just my thoughts is, regardless of what you go through at the end, it's always a light. Like everything is not as bad as you see, like as what it seems. Because I mean, if I sit here and complain about, hey, I only got $5, it's somebody that don't have that $5. Right. So it's always steps to everything. So if you sit there and beat yourself up, you'll never get nowhere. And I don't believe in beating myself up. I believe in rolling. Some, I feel like it can be bad because sometimes you just kind of accept things and let it go. But a lot of it, you can't, some stuff you can't do nothing about. A lot of it, you got to accept and move on. But some stuff you do have to battle, regardless how you feel. Just like a job, you don't want to get up and go to work every day. Of course, not everybody wants to be a millionaire, but everybody don't know the steps to be a millionaire, nor everybody's not supposed to be a millionaire. Somebody, as workers, there's just like if you become a millionaire, who's going to work under you?
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Even if you become a millionaire and put your people around you, they still workers. Yeah. There has to be a head and there has to be a body. So again, I enjoy the process. Again, it goes back to the accepting myself. It's just one of those things you got to go through. You have to get beat up. You have to cry. But as long as you continuously move on, I feel like you're doing good. That's my biggest. As long as you still moving, that's all that matters.
Man, that's real. Yeah. That's real. He's also a pastor.
Actually, I'm an ordained minister. I actually am an ordained minister. A lot of people don't know that. So during COVID, got bored. I was like, sure, why not? So if anybody wants to get married, call me. I got you.
You see, he's a very good speaker.
I'm a great.
He has great words.
Comedy, and I can rap too. So I rap at your way. No, I can perform. Give me any song. I'll perform that. I'm a walking iPod. I swear to God.
I'm cracking up. Oh my God. Okay.
This is gonna be fun. You don't know what you signed up for. This is my show now.
Okay, so am I picking from this card?
Yeah, you pick 4. Let's roll.
4?
You said 5, right?
No.
How many cards you supposed to pick?
However many you want.
Oh, just pick 4. That's the number. I thought it was 5, so pick 4.
You want me to pick 4 cards?
Pick 4 cards. We're gonna roll through all of them.
You know we got a whole nother deck to go through too.
That's fine. Okay. This is my show. I'm running how I want to today. Shouldn't have invited me. You don't invite me to nothing. I take over everything.
Are you gonna pick 3 other cards?
I'm not. I don't want to. This is my show. Let's roll. I'm comfortable now.
Ooh, wait.
I've been drinking a Monaco.
It's already
it's gonna be a great show.
Okay, my first card says, "I am safe and secure in my world." I choose to believe that everyone is always helpful. Therefore, wherever I go in life, there are people there are people there who help me.
No. The first part, yeah. Second part, no. I feel like some people are very useless. I feel like some people just need to go and mind their own business.
I am safe and secure in my world. I think I'm getting there. I don't know that I'm 100% there. I think like maybe like 2 years ago I was like safe and secure, but like today, probably not.
So what's safe and secure in your world to you then?
I feel like when I have answers and a limited amount of confusion, like right now I have a lot of confusion in me.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like 2 years ago, I was like really starting to like discover who Lisa is.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot more security there.
Gotcha.
And I think that speaks on a financial level, a spiritual level, um, maybe even like a career level. Like I feel like 2 to 3 years ago, I was like kind of on top of my game. Currently, like 2023 beat my ass, and I feel like I've been off my game ever since. I didn't even want to come into 2024. But yeah, so I'm getting there, but right now I'm not there.
Gotcha.
So that's my first card. My second card is I trust the intelligence within me.
Yep. I agree with that. I feel like I'm one of the smartest people in most rooms. Not gonna say all of them, but I feel like I'm the smartest person in a lot of rooms. So
So how do you feel about that? Do you want to enter rooms with people who are smarter than you?
of course, but I still feel like at the end of the day, I still feel like I'm one of the smartest. Even in those rooms that people are smarter than me, I still feel like I'm one of the smartest because me personally, I'm able to adapt. So it's not just um, everybody's smarter than me, so I'm just dumb myself down, blah 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 blah. No, I feel like I can navigate in any room. You can put doctors, lawyers, scientists, presidents, whatever, and I'm going to be able to stand out. I'm not going to tuck my tail. I'm not going to conform to you just da 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 da. No, I'm me at all
Mm,
times. So
I
that's
feel
why I
that.
said yeah.
It says there are no problems that do not have a solution. There are no questions without answers.
I'm neutral about that. I'm very neutral because certain stuff, yeah, people know because you cannot control people. You cannot
Right.
control people. And I mean, yeah, a easy solution is to say, let me get away from this person. But what do you do when it's a family member, a parent, a co-parent rather, a job, whatever. So I just feel like people you just can't control. So
Yeah,
it certain solutions are unreachable in a way.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. I trust the intelligence within me. I've had better confidence. I've had better confidence. Right now, I'm just in this place of like, I feel like I trusted a lot of different people in the last couple of years, and I can't say that I feel like I've made the best decision. And even, I guess even in my career, I think when I say that, I'm mostly thinking about like in the last couple of years, I have partnered with quite a few people, and I mean, if we want to be 100%, like you've seen some of the business deals I've made,
Yeah.
and they have not been the best choice. And so I've had to deal with that because that was something that I ended up doing. So yeah, I don't. Again, I'm getting there. And then it said there are no problems that do not have a solution. There are no questions without answers. I think like sometimes there are questions without answers because I think like sometimes we just don't get them. And then I do think there is a solution for everything. However, I think the solution is based off of us, and the solution is up for us whether we want to take it or not.
But again, how do you solve situations with people?
My my answer and my solution to that is to have those difficult conversations. There's two things: have difficult conversations and also accept people for who they truly are. And I think like once I was able to do those two things, like having very uncomfortable conversations with people, really helped me. And then also too, like, just accepting people. Like, so many times we want to fix people, so many times we just want a person to do what we want to do, but that's not how that's gonna work out. So like accepting a person for who they are, which is really hard because I don't feel like I get accepted for for who I am.
But does that solve the problem though?
I would say, yeah. I would say 9 out of 10 times, if I can have the difficult conversation and if I can accept people, it does. It does solve the problem of like,
I'm
okay.
like the alcoholic on camera. I'm sorry. I'm done. I swear. I'm drinking water from now on.
You got a whole cup right by him.
Relax. Relax. It's a holiday. I'm celebrating presidents.
Okay. All right. The third card. I trust myself in the process of life. The moment I am willing to change, it is amazing how the universe brings me what I need.
Yeah. Currently, I'm going through that currently. Some stuff I won't speak on. But currently I'm going through that. I feel like as long as you are obedient to what you believe in, like I don't want to get too religious, say, oh yeah, but as long as
you don't want to let the pastor out.
No, I charge for that. We don't have to have it's more than a cup. I need more than a cup. You don't have to fill the cup. I'm taking offering, but I feel like if you're obedient to yourself and all those things to you, and I'm a huge believer in whatever you put out, you're gonna get it. So if get it back. I don't know if you caught that, if it came out. But if you continuously just feeding yourself dirt, that's what you're gonna be. Like you're gonna be covered in it all day long. I mean, you can be the most positive person in the world. You still gonna deal with the BS of life, and I mean that's just life. But also that's why I said you got to be thankful for those things because somebody didn't get to experience that. Somebody didn't get to experience the lady at Walmart cursing you out, or somebody flick you off. And it's funny to me. So I'm very appreciative of the process of life and the process of changes because regardless, when you sit down in those moments, and you sit down by yourself and you think about it, you don't never want to change. Like you never have those moments. Oh my God. But your self-conscious tells you, all right, I have to let go of this. I have to do this. I have to do that. When you actually go through it, because we fight it. People fight everything, right?
Yeah.
It's I need to go back to school because I want a better job, or I need to tell my best friend I don't like the way he said something, or she did something, whatever.
That was shade.
That
was shade.
The thing is, if you don't
shady palm trees,
you don't go through these moments, you never get what you want. And my thing is, and I have this in my head, and I've always had this in my head when it comes down to it, and when it's my time to be put in the ground or wherever I'm going, I want it to be like everybody that comes up to the podium is he lived the life that he wanted to live. It's not, oh well, he could have did this, or even in those last few moments, like, well, I wish I would have did this, I wish I would have done that, or let me call this person and try to make amends. No, I want it to all come down to I did it my way and I did it on my time and I accepted it all.
I was gonna say, I think even before you get to that point, though, I think people would say that about you today. But I think people would say that to you. Like, I think people would say that, like, you are living your best life. You have came up out the ground. I feel like you have gotten yourself through some of the toughest situations, and I feel like a lot of people don't know half of what you've been through. But also, too, I think when people look at you, like, they'll say, you're a good dad, you're a fun person, you really lived your life, you don't sit down or stand, just you're not a bystander in life, like you're one of the few people actually out here doing what you need to do for your life and not caring what other people say.
Right.
Like I think people would say that. I mean, and that's the other thing, we all have people who don't like us, we all have people who in different seasons have seen us and they haven't liked us because we weren't the best person for them in that season. I think like that's a beautiful thing in life is that we change. Like my therapist always tells me, she says, I wouldn't be a therapist if I didn't think people didn't change. And I think like that's a beautiful place to be in when you can see like I was this person but now I'm this person, and then you continue to evolve.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah. I think with the process of life, I do trust myself and I do trust the process. Um, the moment I am willing to change, it is amazing. I would say that has kind of been the end of 2023 up until this point. Like the minute I was like, okay, I allow change, I accept change, things started to change and it was scary, but also too, I think that's also another beautiful thing about life. Like once you start to allow life to be life and stop trying to have control, things naturally just work out and
happen
things
the way they're
just
supposed to. Yeah.
Things happen the way they're supposed to. And it may not be the way you wanted it to. Like, I mean, there's been times where I'm like, this really hurts. But I know this is how it was supposed to be.
Right.
And I think like being able to say that is part of the growing pains. But I also want to like hit home to people too. Like sometimes we just got to let life do its thing.
Yeah.
Like
you can't control everything. You cannot control.
If anything, do you really think you could control anything?
I feel like you can to an extent.
Okay.
Like I said, that, and I mean it goes back to what I said a while ago, where it's like it's solutions. Like it's solutions. Of course you can. Like if I'm not making enough money at this job, let me go get another job that makes X amount of more dollars, or let me go get 2 jobs where I can make what I need to make, or I'm not in my kid's life enough, so let me get them every day now, or whatever. Like it's certain stuff you can't change, but yeah. So I feel like it's certain stuff you do have control over, but a lot of stuff, like I said, it still goes back to you don't have control over people. There's nothing you can't. Plain and simple, you can't control people. You can't control people that hate you. You can't control the people that like you. You can't. There's nothing you can really do about that because those people are going to be those people. You can be the best person in the world. You can pray for them. You can see them every day and say, "Hey, how you doing?" and be as nice as you want to, but that's within them, just like you said, is part of their process. You can't control nobody else's process. So if their process is okay, let me be stuck in the mud and be hateful or be mean or be nice to people. I'm not just beat up on the people that are mean, but that's up to them.
Right.
So you some stuff you can control. You can, hey, this person not acting right, so let me stay away from them. Cool. Yeah. That's simple. That's the simplest fix. But when it comes down to the people that are more meaningful in your life, how do you control that? How do you control that friend that you've been friends with since the 2nd grade? How do you say, okay, how can you just give up on, all right, I'm done with it. I can't do this no more, regardless if it's healthy, because you still gonna have those moments. You still gonna think about it 5-10 years from now. You still gonna, damn, I miss so and so so much. I remember when we used to play on the playground and we went from talking about girls, or we went from going on dates with each other. We took trips together to now it's nothing. So, like I said, it's one of those things. That's why I said, is there really a solution to leave people alone? Yeah, it's a solution for yourself, but what does that do to your mental?
Yeah.
So how does cutting off somebody you love so much help you?
Right.
So
I feel that. Okay, we got 3 more chords.
That's a big 4. How you get 2? You have read 3 chords.
I know, but I don't know. You saw me pick it. I don't know how these got in here.
That's the same deck. That's 6 chords.
I know.
So we're going to talk. Helen, she can't count. We're going to talk about that. That's the next episode.
I'm gonna let you read this one because you're gonna make fun of me. You're gonna make fun of me for saying that word.
Oh, I'm gonna make fun of myself. Each person is part of the harmonious whole.
Harmonious?
See? Harmonious. I told you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know what that means.
You want me to look it up?
Let me go look it up real quick.
You can read the backside.
We're gonna start with that. I'm gonna be honest. I said I'm the smartest person in certain rooms. Not always.
It says tuneful, not discordant.
What does that mean?
Free from disagreement.
Okay, cool. All right.
Here we go. Forming a pleasing or consistent whole.
I don't do that.
I think it's like harmony. You know what harmony is?
I know what harmony means.
Right. Same word.
No, it's not. Other sides, because we're going to skip that one. With joy, I recognize my perfection and the perfection of life perfectly. Because when you find joy in certain things, everything just seems so perfect. I've had moments with jobs, kids, money, people where I was just like,
give an example.
Coaching. And that's just on a without getting too personal. With kids, is other people trust me with their kids, and they've been in games doing silly stuff, and I pull them to the side, and they have an attitude, and it's not even me to yell at them. It's just for me to embrace them. Where it's like, hey man, you good. Just handle it a different way where we sit on the bench and laugh.
Yeah.
And that's a joy for me. Like I never honestly, and I mean I don't know if this later on in the conversation, but I never thought I wanted to coach basketball.
Yeah.
Or coach anybody. Like I never thought that I was like, I want to take somebody else's kid and teach them this game that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, do I have my moments where I was like, I'm probably gonna fight one of these kids. But I also had these moments where it's like, you one of mine. Like I didn't birth you, but you are one of mine, and I care for everything that you do. I want you to succeed and be great in everything that you do, because honestly, I never had that. And I mean, I don't really know how to. I'm not gonna say like I had bad parents, but I never had that moment where it was like, I'm proud of you. Who's just getting deep? But I never had that moment where it was like, and I mean not just on the like life aspect, but sports wise. I just stick to sports. But sports wise, I never had that ability to look up in the stands or look up on the sidelines and be like, yeah, somebody proud of me. So I find joy in that to provide that for somebody, even if they parents there or whatever. They still look to me. They still yes sir me. They still coming to me to timeouts. Hey, Coach Speedy, how do I blah 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 blah. So I find joy in that, and that joy is my perfection. Like I feel like that's perfection to me. Perfect to me. I don't know how they else to explain it. It's really perfect to me, and I enjoy those moments to the point where I go home and I'm on the phone. I'm having conversations talking like, yeah, I mean, number 7 did this and number 12 did this, and he pissed me off, but he got it together when I told him, and he went out and did. He turned it around. So that joy within me, and is good. I enjoy those moments. I embrace them. I appreciate them, because, like I said, these are people trusting me with their kids, their development, and my philosophy with coaching is bigger than basketball. It's never, oh, I just need you to be the next LeBron James. Right. No, because everybody's not going to be LeBron James. Everybody's not going to make it. There's 1% of the world that makes it to the NBA. 1% is a billion people in the United States. So worldwide, it's those numbers are even smaller. So if you think about it, and it's just on the St. Louis base, is I don't know 500 high schools. So just think about 500 high schools and 15 players per team. We
already had 2.
Exactly.
So it'll be another 50 years.
That's what I'm saying. I'm 35 years old. 35 years. Just out of St. Louis that I know of, it's been, I think, 5 people that made it to the NBA. It's not to make these players make players. I tell them, I'm like, y'all humans. I'm trying to make y'all sustainable humans. It's kids that's come back to me now where it's like, actually, a few weeks ago we was at a game and I didn't even know it, but we got one of our old players' little brother. He was like, man, you need to make a team and coach us.
Yeah.
And they're in high school. And
I've been telling you that.
listen, no, it's stressful.
Listen, I've been telling
It's stressful.
Deshaun that, Coach Speedy that for the
It's
longest.
stressful.
I'll be your first sponsor. I'm saying it here on the World Wide Web. I'll be your first sponsor.
If you're going to sponsor me, I need a tequila sponsor as well.
Okay, tequila. Well, hit us up. Tequila. Which tequila?
We need Don Julio.
Okay, Don Julio.
Esplanade. We
Period.
need a reposado. Keep it simple.
So hit us up. Give She Got Faith. We ready to sponsor.
But yeah, so that's one of my joys. I mean, is those are one of my joys that I feel like it makes life meaningful. That's one of my current things that I feel like, okay.
I feel like I saw you become a coach we've only known each other 5 years.
Right.
And I feel like I saw you 5? Get into this. Huh?
Is it 5? Whew.
Yeah, 2019.
You getting old.
I feel like I saw you though, and I would say from an outsider looking in, there was definitely a shift in you, and there was definitely a love that you showed for basketball. Like, I think everybody who knows you knows, like, you love basketball. But I think when you started coaching the little ones, I think that sparked something else, because you always said something you wanted to coach, but you like wanted to coach a certain demographic, and then when you became a coach, it was not the demographic you wanted at all. And
I wanted to coach girls. Let that be known. They're easier to deal with. Outside of attitudes, they're easier to deal with. They listen more. They pay more attention. Even though we got a girl right now, if you say too much to her, she's gonna cry. It's the funniest thing in the world. But
I feel you.
Every time she see me, Coach Speedy, can you give me some nachos?
Oh,
but come on, man.
Yeah. And I think like it opened you up to a lot of stuff, and I feel like it opened you up to just being the person that you're supposed to be the whole time. And I think like your love for kids has even shown up in that. And
kids.
Huh?
I don't like kids.
He a lie.
Including my own.
He a lie. Anyways. Okay, because that's a topic of the day conversation.
Get deep.
Okay. I am my own unique self. I feel like this card is for you. I'll read the last one is for me, I know. But this one is for you. I am my own unique self. Everyone is unique and different. If we are like other people, then we are not expressing our specialness.
True enough. I preach that to my kids, not just my personal kids that I've birthed, but my any kid, nephews. I don't have any nieces, but nephews, my little brothers, my kids that I coach. And again, I only coach 6th grade boys right now, but the whole organization knows me. I don't even go to their practice. But I tell them that I tell them, be yourself at all times. I don't care if it's the goofiest thing in the world. Be you.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I dealt with that, or it was like, you know what I mean? I think everybody deals with that, where you try to fit in, so you try to do what everybody's doing. But I feel like everybody else is taken. So you got to be yourself. You got to be able to present something else to the world.
Can I chime in?
I mean, I guess I'll allow it. It's on my show.
With everything you just said, there used to be a quote that said, "Be a light in a dark place," and I know I had got that from like reading the Bible. I think I was reading Luke. And I used to tell people, especially like when I'm going to these schools and work with other people's kids, like, you bring a certain light to this world, and the world cannot function without you.
Definitely. That's agreeable. I mean, I agree with that. Like I said, everybody has to have their own light. You can't, there's no reason to try to step into somebody else's light. Because the thing is, you can go, and I mean, my toy store is Home Depot. You can go to Home Depot and you're gonna see 100 different lights, and they're all different shades. But they're doing the same thing, but they're all unique in their own way. That's why when you go in houses, you see different type of lights, you see different type of bulbs, and they shine different ways. and they present different spaces and different things. And that's my thing with people. You have to be your own person and shine the way that you are supposed to shine. Don't try to shine like nobody else, because again, that person's already taken.
So how do you do that?
You gotta know yourself. You have to go through those ugly moments when you gotta see who you are. You gotta love yourself. You gotta be able to say, hey, that's my mama calling.
Oh,
Hey,
you want me to pause it?
no, you good. Hey, I love myself. I love myself. I love where I'm at. I know there's more, but I need to figure out where I need to go. And that's the thing. You have to find your own direction to get to that light, to shine as bright as you can. And I mean, again, Jay-Z, Beyonce, all these, they not the brightest stars at all times. It's some spaces where Jay-Z is dumbed down because of Beyonce, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. It's some places where you can put the famous people in all in the same room, and one star is bigger than the other.
Correct.
So that's life. Like you're not always the brightest star, but
Yeah.
you got to figure out where you shine at and how you shine. And that's
So where would you say you shine at?
I shine everywhere.
Okay, where would you say I shine at?
I don't know. I feel like you shine in caring for people personally, just from what I know for the last 5 years that you say. Oh,
You don't believe it's 5 years?
it might have been 5 years. I'm not good
It's
with time.
2019.
I'm not good with time. It's 2024 actually.
No, I met you September 2019.
Okay, not weird at all. That's when this friendship was birthed. So I guess she remembers it. Funny story, how we met. I thought she was her sister. Me and her sister were cool. We used to work together. I'm just like, hey, what's up? How you been? She was like, hey, you must think I'm such and such. You not? No. Oh, but that's my sister. Tell her I said what's up. And we've been cool since then.
We've been cool since then.
We've been cool since
Actually, what he saw was I was on my story in some very short shorts dancing.
Oh.
And he said, "You're not."
Yeah, that's when I realized. I was like, no.
Well, you're not.
Yeah, that's when I realized. I'm like, no, sister's not like this. That's my homie. I know her, and we just work together. But I knew they ain't the same uniform. It's not the same uniform.
But we have been cool ever since. So that's
cool.
been a fun journey.
It's been a journey, and we've seen each other through different lights and all different spaces. It's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I appreciate it. It's not too many people I can actually say I appreciate meeting and learning, but I do appreciate you, and I appreciate your growth and helping in any way that I have. And vice versa. I appreciate any growth that you have helped me with, which is a lot because I was a handful.
You try to make me cry.
No cry, because I was about to cry, but I stopped myself because I'm a gangster. I'm a gangster and a pastor and a coach. But anyway.
All right. Okay, we got. Ooh, it's a long icebreaker.
It's a long show.
It's gonna have to be.
Listen.
Okay. So this one was for me. And I know for a fact this was for me. So it says, I affirm that I am totally willing to freely forgive everyone.
I don't.
This is for me.
Okay. You're right. Because I don't listen. Let me just before you start. I was really good at forgiving people. But I'm also got to the point where I realized that people will take advantage of that. And people will beat you down and beat you up as much and whenever they can. And I'm not the type, because I fight. I'm not really big on forgiving people, because there's only so much you can do wrong before you realize it's not just you're not just doing it because you you can't help it. Sometimes you just don't.
It says, I release from within me all bitterness and resentment. I let go of old hurts and forgive everyone, including myself. I am willing to forgive. I think with forgiveness, though, comes acceptance. And in acceptance comes, I can accept you for who you are, but I don't necessarily have to deal with you.
True.
And I think for me, one of the things that I am working hard to not be as bitter, because I feel like I'm definitely in a season of bitterness. And I feel like I'm definitely in a season of trying not to be bitter.
It's hard.
It's really hard because you see stuff, and it all boils down to the comparison game. It all boils down to trying not to compare. But for me, that I'm human. As perfect as people say I try to be, the reality is I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm actually probably like one of the messed up individuals in this world.
We are.
But like I'm human, and in that there comes a true human experience of there are times when I am bitter and I can acknowledge that, versus where a lot of people will just like, oh, I'm good. People will try to use a spirituality or religious aspect and be like, oh no, God got it, and God may have it, but Lisa got it too. Like, but Lisa got it too. So, I will say I am really forgiving. I mean, would you say I'm forgiving?
Yeah.
Why you say it like that?
I'm not that forgiving anymore. I used to be.
I'm
not gonna say I'm not forgiving. I'm gonna say I'm forgetful in a way. Like it's a nonchalant thing, and it's a gift and a curse, because it's like, you do me wrong, you do this. All right, it is what it is. There's no point in me retaliating, because I feel like you're gonna deal with what you got to deal with, and I feel like I'm a chosen one in my eyes. So you just gonna have to deal with what you got to deal with.
Yeah.
Because I'm fine.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes I'm just a little bit too emotionally involved in almost everything, like work, business, friendships, community. And so like sometimes even when I try not to take things personal, I still take them personal. But I think that's all part of life, and I think like that's the beauty of life. Right. So, well, we got through our 6 cards. Okay, we have one more thing in the icebreaker that I want to do, and then we will head over to the topic. All right, so now we are going to ask the question: can you describe a time you grieved and how you got through it? Now, before you answer, here at Healing She Got Faith, we do not believe grief is only death. We believe it is any major loss you have taken that has affected your life. So, with that in mind, can you describe a time that you grieved?
I got so many, because I feel like my biggest one, probably most recently, is changing, accepting who I was, and trying to get to where I want to go. That's probably my most recent one, where it was. I've had moments where it was, and I mean, we talked about this, but I've had moments where it was like I was in the dark by myself and I cried, because it was like, damn. And I mean, from that, of course, something beautiful grew, but I've had those moments where it was ugly. Yeah, so it was just more so accepting where I was, trying to get to where I needed to be at. And that was my biggest grief, because it is, in a sense, it still comes back to a death, but it's a death of my old self.
Yeah.
So just trying to accept it. And like I said, I mean, I've said this in the intro where it was, um, you don't want to accept those changes sometimes. Sometimes you just nah, I'll be fine, I'll be good.
Yeah.
I done went through it this long, so I know I'm straight now. But accepting accepting that where you at is fucked up. I mean, excuse my language, but that's what it was. It was one of those things where it's like I'm not. I'm saying I want this, I want to do this, but I'm not living that way in a
Yeah.
way, and that was in a way it was a pivot where it was like I turned away from it
Mm.
because I was fighting it for the longest. Where it was like, yeah, I mean, I'm cool. I know I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. But life has roadblocks, but sometimes we set our own roadblocks,
Yeah.
whether we know it or not, whether we want to admit it or not. But sometimes we put our own roadblocks in that slow us down, or hell, even stop us for that matter. Um, so that was that was one of my biggest grief moments. Because, like I said, during those times, I mean, to get real personal, I mean, you know me, I don't really like to say too much, but in those moments, I went from being homeless to not seeing my kids to having a whole apartment, but everything I owned was in one room because that's all I had.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things, and in those moments, it I was forced. I just said that I was forced to change. I was forced to accept that I needed to go a different direction because it was like I kept hitting these roadblocks and dead ends where it's like, bro, like in your head, and I mean, I know everybody goes in your head, you automatically think like, oh yeah, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. Oh, I'm being nice. I'm giving $5 to the homeless, or I go to church once a month, or whatever. But it sometimes it's bigger than that. It's bigger moments that we don't realize that we need to see, and it's oh man, like I said, it's one of those things where you have to go through it. And sometimes you can go through it on your own and try to sit down and but sometimes you have to be set down and look at the whole picture and look at like, okay, this is happening because of this, or this
Mhm.
is the
Mhm.
consequence because of this. And that's one of my biggest things why I preach to my kids. That's just like now where it's like everything has a consequence, the good and the bad. Everything has a consequence. It's a reward. Whatever way you see it, there's a reward to
Yeah.
it, and it's sometimes that reward is bad. Sometimes that reward is good. Like I said, I ran down and played around in the dark alley, and I end up in the dark alley by myself and got my ass whooped by life. So it was like, damn, I'm here. I'm doing what I'm supposed to, but it's like I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to in a way. I'm not really living what I'm how I'm supposed to be. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. To the moments where it was again, it was lonely. Where it was like, let me sit down, like, and I had to look at everything. I had to look at everything that was around me and feel all these different emotions because I didn't know what to do or how to handle it for that matter. And in those moments, it they help you. They some of them help, but some of them open up them doors that you done put a lock on, put a plywood on that you like I never opened. But sometimes you those doors open up where you like, damn, I'm fucked up in a way. Like
Yeah.
I'm not right. I'm not living how I supposed to be for me to be on this high horse, or me to be going down this path, or me to walk around with a smile when that smile is not even a fake smile. It's a mask.
Yeah.
It's not even your face. It's a mask. So I've had those moments where I was like, yeah, I gotta look at everything. I gotta look at the bigger picture. And like I said, from that grew something beautiful. And I mean, and constantly, and not saying like, oh yeah, I'm perfect now. I'm still a work in progress. It's still stuff that I do, or things I say, or situations I go through where I be like, all right, but now I'm more accepting to that change. Whereas like, all right, this might be something that needs to change. This might be something I need to do. It's not just okay, I'm gonna do it when I feel like it. It's more so I'm here. Let's deal with it. Let's battle it. What am I drink? Um, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I got to deal with it. I have to keep pushing on it. I mean, it's easy to push on and push everything to the side, but it's what you gonna do when all those demons come again and jump you in that dark alley. You can't continuously fight it. There's no way possible. There's nobody on this earth, living or dead, whatever, that's able to get through those moments and be like, yeah, I'm good. Nah, you got to come out with the bruises. I got the bruises, whether they shown or not. I have those bruises, but again, I didn't give up. I kept going. I learned my lesson. I'm not in that alley no more. I might be in that alley, but this go around, I'm in the goddamn me. Yeah. Highlight a vest with a flashlight with that thing on me.
Oh, well, all right. I appreciate you sharing that. So, a lot of times I talk about grief on the podcast, and I think we're 109 episodes in. So, I like to bring guests on to talk about grief beyond death, and it could be a physical death, but it can also be like what you described. So, like saying goodbye to yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think like that is something that we don't realize we grieve. We grieve who we used to be. We grieved who we once were. And when we join the topic of the day, like something I talk about with mothers specifically, and so I'm curious to see it from a father's perspective, is like I will meet mothers who say like, I miss who I was before I had kids. Mm-hmm. And so like that's a process of grief too that is okay. And I think like it's okay for people to hear like it's okay to miss your old self. Right. It's okay to miss who you once were. Like I miss who I was in college, and when I graduated, it was an instant shift. So like sometimes I grieve that. I miss who I was before my mom died, which was in 2018. I miss that person, and it's okay to like miss who you used to be. And so I appreciate you explaining that and giving your side and your perspective. So thank you. All right, now to the good stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into our topic of the day. All right, welcome to episode 109's topic of the day. As I said in the intro, we are still in our Everyone Has a Love Story series. And now today we are talking about Everyone Has a Storge Love Story with Coach Speedy. So, Deshaun, what's it like being a parent?
Hate it.
Wait, what?
Hate it. No. Being a parent to me is the most beautiful thing. Through the ups and the downs, it's the most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced in my life. From seeing, and I've been in my kids' life from day one, from seeing them whining coming out of their moms, because I had 2 kids, 2 moms, but from coming out of their moms to now watching them navigate a cell phone, or telling me, because I guess I'm getting old now, but telling me the simple stuff. Oh, that's what this means. This was my, like, we to the point where now my kids are making jokes about stuff that I do. So I guess
you're the old person now.
I'm the old person now. So it's a beautiful thing to me because I enjoy every aspect of it. Like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I embrace it. I enjoy it. It's to me personally, relationship and all that. It's the first time I've ever really been in love, because I feel like love is one of those things where it's like you willing to die for. Mm-hmm. That's real love. That you're willing to do whatever you want. You're willing to go without. You're willing to just make sure that thing, person, whatever is comfortable in what they is. And so to me, that's one of the most important things in my life now. And everything that I do is navigated around those two because again, without them, I feel like I wouldn't have went through some of the changes that I did go through. So
So can you talk about some of those changes?
um yeah, one of the biggest things is selfishness. Growing up, I was the only boy, and my mama was, of course, I was the only boy, so I did and got whatever the hell I wanted to. So getting through that, where it's like, I don't have to do for nobody else. But now it's I'm willing to go the extra mile, to work the extra 10 minutes, to work overtime, to go get different jobs, to let me go get a college degree just because I want to put an extra $10,000 in my pocket to make sure they good. So that's one thing. So it's I'm willing to go the extra mile, sacrifice my time. Like if my schedule is wrapped around them, plain and simple. It is work so I can make money for them. But I got this free time. Yeah, that's cool. I got free time, but that free time is for just in case they want to do something. And I'm not, and I never tell nobody because I wholeheartedly believe in making time and space for yourself. So I never say like, oh yeah, I don't have my time. Like I have my time, but I'm also 100% available for my kids whenever I need to be. So I'm really big on that. I just I make sure they good in every aspect of the world.
Yeah. Can you talk about when you were job hunting and you asked your kids if you would take a certain job and they were flat out like no?
Yeah. So a year ago, I got bored. I didn't like the current position I was in with said government officials.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't like my current job, and I just felt like some was coming down the pipeline where I was gonna have to leave in some form of fashion. And so I was offered a really good position because, again, I mean, my credentials are crazy, and it's not to gloat or anything, but my credentials were crazy. And I asked my kids, and I mean, and this is probably I ain't gonna say this is the problem. It's the first time I've ever really got their honest opinion because I mean, parents rather ask their kids about certain stuff. Oh, what you want for dinner? Where do you want to go? Blah blah blah. But I asked my kids like, how would y'all feel if I had to go out of town? And they flat out just told me no. So with that, that was my decision. And there's no amount of money, there's no job, there's nothing in this world that can tell me overrule what your kids saying because I do want to be that parent at PTA meetings and basketball and volleyball. I do want to be that person that's involved. I never wanted to be 20 years down the line, my kids telling me, well, you didn't come to nothing. You wasn't presentable. Yeah, you was able to provide the money aspect of everything, but I would have preferred you to be present.
Yeah. What motivates you to be present with your kids?
I didn't have a father growing up. That's my biggest thing. I didn't have a father growing up, and my mom was all I had. Um, so that's why I value the hell out of single mothers. I value my kid's mom, even though we on two different pages and a lot of stuff. But I value them. But my biggest thing is I know how it feels to not have, again, not have nobody in the stands to say, "Hey, you doing a good job." Or me and my son, we go back and forth. I tell him all the time. He plays basketball. I tell him, "You're terrible." It's my biggest thing.
Be
But
kidding me.
I didn't have nobody to tell me that. because and it's a big thing. Like we can have those conversations. I have those conversations. I leave the floor open to tell you can talk to me about whatever you feel like you need to talk to. Whether you tell, hey, I don't like the shirt you got on. I don't talk to me. That's one of my big things I tell my kids. So I feel like growing up, I never had that space to do that. So I wanted to make sure I provided that space in all aspects. And it's easy for a kid to come home and say, "Hey, I did this, this, and that," but it's a whole lot better for a kid to come and ask you, "Where did I mess up at?" Because you seen it, you were there, you were. And I coach my son. I coach my son. I go to all my daughter volleyball. She plays volleyball and golf. I go to all that. But it's easy to be a part of that and be able to not just say, "Hey, how was your day?" I mean, it's easy to say, "Hey, how was your day?" and they tell you, but it's a whole lot better than where you can start that conversation where it's like, "This how I feel about what you did here, this, and that." And you can bounce your ideas off each other. So that's it is a whole lot different. That's my biggest thing. Like is I didn't have that space. I didn't have that person. So I want to and I always continue want to make sure I am that space to to give them that they can be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. How do you create that space? Like what was the conversation or what was the open communication of like, hey, I'm your dad. You can talk to me about anything.
It just came with time. It's just one of those things where it's like just like everything, you can only do pieces. It's like in school, you go to kindergarten, you go to first grade, second grade, blah blah blah, and so on, and it just builds up to that. You're not in college, you're not talking about what you talked about in kindergarten, and vice versa. So I just planted those seeds early on, where it's just like again, you start off, hey, how was your day? How do you feel? Come talk to me if you have something on your mind. To the point where I've been checked. I've been checked a few times by my kids where it was like they done did something and I started yelling. They was like, "Well, you said I could talk to you about everything," and it's like, damn,
Okay, yeah. So talk to us about that. Like, what does that feel like?
it's it's kind of nerve wracking, but it's one of those things where it's like you was listening,
Yeah.
and I never want to deter either one of them where it's like they cannot talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure I'm always available.
Yeah.
Even if it's in the middle of the day, hey, and my son, I don't know what goes on in school, but he calls me from the school phone. And, hey, Dad, blah 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 blah. Ain't you in school? Yeah, that's the phone I'm calling from. So I just make sure I make those spaces. Like I always allow those spaces because I make sure I'm a parent at all times, but I also make sure you know that I'm your friend. You can talk to me. Like we're not gonna go too sideways, but we can talk about anything possible.
Yeah.
Even the stuff that I don't care about, don't hear about, or don't whatever, you can still come tell me. I might just give you a, oh, okay. But I'm listening. I'm always listening. I'm gonna come back with a few days later. Hey, how your friend doing? How this doing? So
Yeah.
I always want to make sure that space is available. And like I said, it was just one of those baby steps things. It wasn't just a, hey, day one, talk to me as much as you need to. It was just like, let me start sparking this little small conversation. And then they start growing out to bigger conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as they've gotten older, because you set that tone when they were younger, it's just gradually
Opened
grown
up. Yeah.
or
Definitely.
opened up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think we don't society don't hear too much from like the father's perspective. And that's one of the reasons why I started healing He Got Faith. Because when I started healing She Got Faith, I actually had an influx of male clients and
Mhm.
a lot of them came in, they weren't allowed to have emotions, but like I had situations where like wives and daughters would come up to me and be like, "Oh, thank you for allowing my husband or my father to show emotions because he always keeps it in." But a lot of times, and outside of Healing She Got Faith, I work with a lot of kids, and so a lot of times from both perspectives, I get like, "Oh, I wish my parents would just listen. I just want a relationship. I just want presentness." Or like, "I wish my dad would just cry. I wish my mom would just cry. I wish X, Y, and Z." And so a lot of times what I'm seeing is kids really just want the presentness and the love from their parents.
True.
Like kids really just want to know that like dad cares for me, mom cares for me. You're right. Kids do want to see you in the stands. Like
Yeah,
kids want you there.
definitely.
I have a nephew right now that like even when I can't make it to his wrestling match, like he's texting me every how I know you at work, Didi, but this is what's going on. And so like kids want that from the adults in their life. And so for you, how would you say you are as a father?
Well, I feel like I'm the greatest thing in the world.
I feel like your kids would say that.
I feel like as a father, and I mean it's just every aspect of life and everywhere in my life. I feel like, of course, there's areas that I feel like I do need to improve, but life happens. But I feel like I'm a present father. I know, and I know this because they call me and tell me these things. But I
You do
know
have a really good relationship with your kids.
I feel like I can. I feel like my kids know at the end of the day I'm there. Plain and simple. There's no well. Let me not call dad because he's not he gonna come up with an excuse. But I feel like my kids are very open and they don't care to
Mm-hmm.
ask me anything, and they're going to. They're going to. They know they don't have to be sneaky. They know they don't have to do hide who they truly are. Because my whole thing is just like I said in the intro. You got to be your own light. So I make sure I preach that to them and I tell them, be your own self, regardless if it affects me or not. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I'm gonna love you regardless. I'm
Don't.
gonna love you. I told you this is my show.
Oh
I'm
my
taking over.
goodness. Okay.
Taking over.
So what is one thing you have two little ones. So it might
Kids
be
grown.
your kids are grown, but you know. Um what is like one thing you want to instill in them? And what is one thing you just like want them to know? And then after that I have one more question.
Be their self in all spaces. Be who you truly are and don't hide that. Like there's only one you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gonna accept it. Some people not gonna like it. It's some you can be somebody else and somebody it's gonna be the same situation. So be yourself at all times. Be
Yeah.
yourself, be trustworthy, be honest. You have to live your life and live it like tomorrow is coming and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also, like I said, I tell them, be you. Everybody else is taken. Be you. There's nobody else that you need to be because you accept it
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And if not, I got that thing.
Okay, so with that in mind, so the name of my book, my newest book, is Everyone Has a Love Story. So it's all things love, right?
Okay.
What are you going to do when your kids experience their first heartbreak?
I don't know because my first heartbreak, I went through it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really express it to nobody. Hell, I don't think I really have friends like that to express it to. I don't want to dumb it down where it's like life is life,
Mm-hmm.
but I also don't want them to be so consumed in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be that space where and this is one of again I pray about it a lot. And this is one of my prayers where it's like I hope that when those times come and those moments come, and not just heartbreak, but any situation, that I'm able to be able to be a teacher and parent versus just somebody tell you, oh, it's gonna be all right. Because sometimes it's not gonna be all right.
Right.
But you have to get through it because it's not the end. It's a billion people in the world. It's more women than men, and it's more men out here than it is. It's more men out here. So you can't just focus on something. Just because you get your heart broke at 17, don't mean that you won't get married at 23.
Right,
So
right.
I want to be able to have that education or knowledge within myself where I can navigate them where they can be like, you know what, I'm gonna be all right
Yeah.
regardless.
Even I think like, and this is just my perception as an outsider. I think like the day your kids come to you and say they have a heartbreak, I feel like they're gonna be comfortable enough to come to you. And I think like it might be as simple as like, I know what you're gonna say, Dad, but like, can we just sit here and go get ice cream? Can we just sit here and play the game?
And I'm gonna provide that space.
Yeah, and I think like that's what I was trying to pull out of you. Like, I think for the most part, as far as I know you, I think providing that space, because I think your kids are pretty open with you. So like, even being like, okay, Dad, I get it, but like, can we just go get ice cream? Can we just play the game? Can we just go to this basketball game? Actually, can we go to the gym? Because I think like your kids would be open enough to be that vulnerable with you and to let you know. Also, too, I think your kids really appreciate the words you give them. So even in the times that they don't necessarily want to hear it,
Mm-hmm.
I think they know how to communicate with you. Today, I don't want to hear it. So today, let's just do the safe space. But then tomorrow, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think like that. I think like for you, not that you need anybody's approval or want it. I think like as an outsider looking in, I do believe that your kids. I mean, and even I've seen you interact with your nephews too, and I think like all the little people in your life really, really do take well to you. So, with that being said, before we head on over to the affirmation, talk to us about like loving other people's kids. Like, you're a
Whew.
coach. You've been doing this like I said earlier. I feel like when you started coaching, it wasn't necessarily the demographic that you wanted, but you've blossomed so much as a person, as a coach, that like talk to us about what it's like we know you love your kids.
Right.
So what is this parental love towards other kids?
Um, it's a weird feeling, honestly, because again, I never thought I was gonna be a coach. I never wanted to coach boys for that particular matter because boys are hard headed, especially at the age that I have. It's a different feeling to know that I don't have to see this kid every day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to see this kid every day,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to make sure every day that this kid is good and that when they come back to me that they feel like they're safe and they getting everything they need. Because again, these kids are not mine. I mean, early this season, I thank the parents. And I'm like, I thank you for that opportunity to trust me with your kids to not only grow them into better basketball players, but allow me that space to help raise them. Because I mean, essentially, we doing this basketball stuff X amount of times out the year, and I'm raising your kids in a way. Whether it's yelling, laughing at them, crying at them, and I mean, I've dealt with all that, but I'm helping raise somebody else's kids,
Right.
and it's not just on a basketball standpoint. And like I said, my thing with coaching is not just, oh, I need you to be the next LeBron, I need you to be the next Kobe, X, Y, Michael Jordan, blah, blah, blah. Is I need you to be a great human where in 10 years you call me or your mama call me or your friend call me like, hey, what's the name doing really good for himself? And all he talk about is Coach Speedy did this and Coach Speedy did that. And so it's bigger than the wins and losses and championships and all that. Of course, all that stuff is enjoyable, but outside of that, what type of human being are you being?
Yeah.
So I try to. I'm not gonna say I try, but I make sure even with them, I provide that space where I pull kids to the side. Hey, let me talk to you real quick. You
Yeah.
good? Like, I get your mom and daddy too if I need to. So I make sure they feel that same love, and we joke and laugh and do all this crazy stuff that a lot of people don't do because they just see it as, oh, that's not my kid.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's no, I genuinely love number 7. I genuinely love number 12, and 22 is my son.
I like the girl you get nachos for.
The little girl I get nachos for that cries every practice. I make sure is, hey, you good? Yeah, I'm straight. You, wow, what's up? I'm just making sure you good. So I make sure I provide that space where it's like it ain't just, oh, he just here because his son here or his daughter. No, no, no. All of y'all are mine. And I
Yeah.
want to make sure if anything goes down, y'all know that I got y'all.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. I feel that. So to end on a note, so storage love is a parent's love for their children. So what are your last final thoughts of this storage love? What would you say to the world?
Love the kids the way that you feel like they should love the world.
Mm.
Um, they didn't ask to be here, and they shouldn't go through a lot of stuff. So, and I mean, we go through everything. Adults go through a lot, whether
Mhm.
he's the mama, daddy, blah blah blah. We go through a lot,
Mhm.
but don't never make kids suffer for that, because at the end of the day, they still innocent, and those small things, what you feel like is small, whether it's you cursing around them, you fighting around them, whatever, they still have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is, don't be a part of nobody therapy session in 10 years.
That's a good point. Say it again. Wait, say that louder.
Never be a part of somebody therapy session.
So I'm glad you said that because I started nanny. Well, you knew me when I
Yeah.
started nanny. I started nanny when I moved back to St. Louis in 2021. And one of the things that both the parents said was, I keep telling myself I'm a good parent as long as in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, that baby is not in therapy because of me as the mom.
And the thing is, you can have the best parent in the world, but it's like if you really sit down and ask 5 parents, what's good parenting, you're gonna get 5 different answers.
Correct.
So to me, good parenting is allowing a kid the space to grow into who they are.
Yeah.
To the next person, it might be because I buy everything they need. To the next, it could be because, oh, we take trips, blah blah blah. So they experience different stuff. So my thing, like I said, 5 different prints, you'll get 5 different answers. Allow that kid to be in a safe space to be who they want to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as a single childless person who works with kids, I think that's the biggest thing that I hear. Like there's a middle school that I work with and there's one kid I know for a fact that he has a single mom, and like every time we meet, like the kid almost like walks out every day tells him I love you, because like he was like, you just remind me of my mom. And not that his mom isn't there,
Right.
but like it takes a village.
Yeah.
And he recognizes that I'm part of that village. And so like a lot of times he's like, Miss LeLe, you're just like a second mom to me. Like you just really give me this space. And a lot of times with kids, I just often try to remind them that they're human too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times we limit kids to like
Just
saying,
being kids.
yeah, but we forget that they experience, like if they're going through a divorce, like I was a child going through a divorce, and I remember like teachers being like, you don't have a life. And I'm like, God damn, yes I do. Like, like bitch, we going through homelessness. Like, like, God damn. So just like giving the kids a space, even like you said something earlier today, it was like, even if I don't agree with it, even if I don't want to hear it, like one of the things like working in education, I get a lot of feedback from teachers that are like, you too cool with the kids. Because I'll let the kids talk about their boyfriends and girlfriends. I'll let the kids be sad about that. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and let them be, wanting to unalive themselves or wanting them to be physical harmful, but I'll let them be sad.
Right.
I'll let them say a cuss word or 2 or 3 because they're upset. Like I will let them. I've had high schoolers come into my office and be like, "Let me read you this text message that I just sent this," and I'll be like, "Yeah, girl, what'd he say?" Like I would do that, but it's to give them a safe space, and then the conversation is always like, "Well, how does this benefit you?"
Right.
And then a lot of times the kids are like, my mama said the same thing. Okay, so me and mom on the same page. Like, so we there. Okay, cool. So I think with kids, it's all about giving a safe space. I'm not a parent. I don't know if I'll ever be a parent, but I do work with a lot of kids, and I do work with a lot of kids who just ask for their parents, that like their parents' approval. And like in my book, when I wrote about Storge, I wrote about growing up with my parents, and I also wrote letters as if it was my parents from the afterlife.
Okay.
Because both of my parents are deceased. And I imagine what they would say. And also too, what I want to say about my parents is my parents never got the chance to fully live. And they never got the chance to truly see any of their kids grow and prosper. I think the only reason why Inez and Tommy's kids prospered was because of their death. So with that, let that sink in. Not that my parents were bad, but were bad parents. Like they were some of the best parents. But also too, my parents struggled with knowing themselves. They struggled with depression. They struggled with having permission to have emotions. And also too, my parents only knew what they knew. And a lot of people take for granted, like my parents moved from New York, where they left their village, to come to St. Louis, and that was a whole different ball game. Right. And so when I wrote Everyone Has a Love Story, and I wrote about Storge, I wrote from the afterlife as if mom and dad were talking to me from the afterlife. And a lot of that came from dreams. A lot of that came from my perception, but also too, in my first book and my second book, what I wanted to do was give them permission to be who they are. Like, even though they're no longer here. And as a childless child, because essentially that's what I am. I lost my dad at 15. I lost my mom at 26. I lost my parents at such a pivotal time frame that there's a lot that I just don't know. And so I think Storge Love is such a good topic to talk about, especially from a male's perspective, because we just don't get that. And a lot of times what I hear from parents is, my kids are my life. Right. And sometimes as parents, we forget we're human too. Yeah. And so I think like talking about the Storge Love was like, this is me, this is my child, this is our love. And I think it's important to realize you can be human and you can be a parent, and they can exist at the same time. Yeah. So do you have any last final words, advice, anything?
No, I'm here. This is my show. I took over this. All that. I'm here. Listen to it. It's really good. I think I did well. I almost cried like twice. I ain't gonna lie. I almost cried. I stopped myself. But I'm a thug.
Well, thank you for your vulnerability.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate you telling us about your story, about our story of meeting people. We probably could have a whole nother episode about our story, right, of these last 5 years. Right. But I want to thank you for coming on here and just sharing your parental story and just giving your honest feedback. Yeah, book him if you want to get married.
I'll give you a deal.
Hey, just
I change your lights and marry you, same building.
Discount. Unless you got faith, you get a 10% discount. That's just in Texas. All right, y'all. Without further ado, we'll head on over to the affirmation. All right, welcome to episode 109's affirmation. So this week's affirmation is, each day I am learning and growing alongside my children. I have permission to grow in my own personal journey and in my parenthood journey. I am still human. I can love myself and my children in the same breath. How you feel about that?
I feel like it's true. As long as you don't consume yourself with being a parent, that's the biggest thing. A lot of people consume themselves with being parents. a lot of people get lost in that. Whereas like once your kids grow off and you get so attached to your kids, it's like you don't have no type of identity. You don't know what to do when your kid's not around. I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say that because my kids don't live with me physically, but I feel like that's very important for people to not get caught up
Mm-hmm.
in just being a parent. You have to have a life. There's moments and there's times where it's like your kids don't need to go. Your kids don't need to be involved. You need
Yeah.
vacations by yourself. You need times where you can sit back and be like, you know what? They good. I
Yeah.
did what I supposed to. Because that's when you get wrapped up in that, that's what happens when your kids turn 18, 19, whatever, they start get older and you like, well, I don't know what to do now that my kid's not around. So I feel like you have to separate the two,
Yeah.
and that's my biggest thing. I make sure I separate the two, where it's like I have my life and I have my kids' life,
Yeah.
and we're able to join, and then we can be good, but we're also able to separate, and I don't feel no type of way, and they don't feel no type of way.
Right.
I've actually had conversations with my kids where it's like my son in particular. My daughter only says so much because
Mm-hmm.
she's just it's crazy how your kids are the splitting image of you and everything. Whereas like my kids, my daughter has my nonchalant side, and my son has my outspoken personality side. Where I've asked him stuff, and he was just like, I mean, as long as you happy, I'm fine.
Oh,
And
your son said that.
he said that,
Oh.
and it's been moments where I was like, damn, he gets it. And my daughter, I asked her, she was like, I don't care. So I feel like that's very important for you. You can't just be a parent all day long. There's no
Yeah.
way possible for you to be a parent all day long because again, apparently, I mean, not apparently, eventually those kids become adults, and then when they become adults, what do you do?
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing.
Yeah. How do you deal with your kids having such different personalities? I mean, they're like you said, they're of you, but how do you deal with them having like they're both on like such different parts?
I feel like it's a perfect balance because if you get, I mean, you work in school, so just think about if you have two hyper kids, it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So if I feel like one is too over the top, I can go to the other and be like, "Does this make sense?" And they'd be like, "I mean," so I feel like it's necessary. I enjoy it because, like I said, I get two different perspectives versus everything is wrapped around the same. Certain stuff they still join up and do everything, but yeah,
And your kids are pretty close, right?
they're really fucking
Yeah.
really
You
close.
can cuss. It's
Okay.
okay. Yeah, your kids are really close. So, what are some of the things that you do to like give yourself permission to grow in your own personal journey plus your
I don't
parenthood?
answer their calls.
For real?
Sometimes I don't answer their calls and I call them back. Not it don't take me like forever, but sometimes I have my moments where it's like, all right, you really don't want them because I know I kind of can pinpoint everybody when they call me. So when my son calls, depending on the time, is either oh I was just calling to see what you was doing. My daughter, she only calls me when she wants something. There's no if, ands, or buts about that. She's not calling me to say, hey, what you doing? But
Uh-huh.
my son, he have his moments where he'll call like, hey, I was just calling to see what you was doing. This and that going on in basketball. This and that happened today at school. X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. But sometimes I might not answer the phone and I call back like, hey, what's up? Oh, I was just calling to see what you was doing.
Mm,
Okay, and I appreciate those moments.
yeah.
Um, that's one way. Other ways, I make sure I go out and do what I want, and it's not just uh, let me do something that's right. I go to Home Depot. There's nothing in Home Depot for my kids. There's
Right.
nothing at all. But
Right.
I enjoy Home Depot. I enjoy
Yeah.
Home Depot. I enjoy Lowe's. I enjoy hardware stores. I enjoy building stuff, puzzles, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
So
You
I
do.
make sure I make time and I make space for those things. I go to basketball, whether it's high school, college, elementary school, whatever. sometimes I'll take my kids, sometimes I won't. But that's one of the things that I do where I can just relax and I can be me. And some, of course, I had those moments where it's like, I, well, this might help Junior a little bit, or this might help. But also, I shake myself where it's like, this is about me. Enjoy my space. I travel. I go out of town. Don't think about the kids. Call, hey, you good? Yeah, I'm good. All right, cool. But that's about it.
Yeah. Um, one more thing.
I'm trying to stress this out. There'll be a 75-hour conversation.
No, you like to travel too.
Okay.
You like to travel, and so like, how does that affect your kids? But also too, is traveling part of that whole self-care? Like, this is what dad has to do to be better.
I don't feel like it's necessary, but I feel like it's one of those things that I like to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it, and I make sure I plan around times that they won't be affected at all.
Right.
So it's not just, oh, it's a random day. Let me go travel.
Right.
It's all right. They ain't got what you got going on this week. I ain't got nothing going on. I bet what you got going on. I don't have nothing. Cool. So I can make sure I can go and enjoy myself, and I don't have to worry about. Damn, I got to be back at this time. I got to make sure I got to get back because he got this and she got that. Is mainly is just I want to go out and decompress and not think about anything I have going on. So I make sure when I do travel and I travel for me, is I'm traveling for me and not I'm traveling with restrictions.
Right. So I think that's an important message. Like, parents, take the time to do what you need to do, whether it's traveling, and it's okay to leave your kids.
Mhm.
Like, it's okay to leave your kids. All right. So the affirmation once again is, each day I am learning and growing alongside my children. I have permission to grow on my own personal journey and in my parenthood. I am still human. I can love myself and my children in the same breath. So that's our affirmation from now until next Monday. Deshaun, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for having this wonderful conversation, your vulnerability. Thanks for giving us your input, and you are welcome back to the show anytime.
Whew.
I'm
I'm gonna cry next time.
cracking up.
Back. Not gonna come
So,
back.
all right, everybody. I love you, but love you the way you love the world, and I'll catch you